Hello. Okay. So, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would like to introduce myself.
All right.
I'm Theo. I am one of Zara's many, many, many friends. One of her better ones, I'd say personally, but that's just me.
Okay. I'm in case it wasn't obvious, I'm Zara. Zara Khan, double major. I'm a soon-to-be graduate, I am one of the members of Bogingus. And
I am also one of the members of Bogingus, but I'm not
Yes.
going to give my last name because I don't really want to.
that's valid.
Mhm.
We respect boundaries in this cult. I mean, in this discourse community.
It's not a cult.
This is not a cult.
It's not a cult.
It's not a cult.
It's not a cult.
It's not a cult.
Not a cult.
Okay. So, firstly, for everyone thinking, what is Bogingus? That's such a weird name.
That is the $1 million question.
Yeah.
I mean, what is Bogingus? It's just a group of friends, really, that came together in Mark Lieb's class of all places.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the same time, it's also kind of just like a place where we all kind of fit in, to where we didn't really have any sort of set identifiers, really, I feel like.
Okay.
I mean, other than just being we're all writers.
We're all victims.
We're all victims of Mark Lieb.
Yes.
But I mean, other than just being writers, we didn't really have any I feel like all of us kind of went into it not really knowing each other, but at the same time not having all that many friends, and I feel like we kind of just bonded super quickly.
I mean, speak for yourself. I have plenty of friends.
Well, I mean, I will speak for myself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, we all were not expecting that. I remember in the beginning. So we met at the end of the semester, which is so wild. But it's really funny because we never really interacted in class all too much, because everyone was just we don't want to ask questions and things
we don't
want to
ask questions. We don't want to
we don't want to get criticized.
We don't want to criticize.
Yeah. But then, we were just let's screw it. Let's get lunch. And lo and behold, the Olive Garden Dane's house. That's the formal name of that chain.
Yes.
And we went there, and then Kaya, one of our members, thought it was a great idea to just pay $2 and play that little game on the little kiosk. And it asked us to put a name down.
Yes.
It asked us to put a name down. And
Hayo, one of our
other members. One of the core members, yes. Who's also the most absent member. But
that's his thing.
That's fine. It's a running joke that we have in this discourse community. He decided to just pick a name, and he wrote Bogingus's house. And
me and Kaya started dying laughing at the table.
And it was so absurd. And then it just worked.
Yeah.
Let's get into this.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we've prefaced that, how Bogingus met, it is a literary or a writing discourse community.
Yeah.
At its base.
Yes.
But it's so much more than that. I will actually save that question till the end. Who is part of Bogingus? And how would you describe the people of Bogingus?
I mean, at the base level, it is still all writers, because I feel like that's how we met. That's kind of what our passions are, at least sub-passions or whatnot. But I mean, it does technically get a lot more diverse from there, because while we're all writers, there's a good subsection of us that are gay or bi or any other sort of sexuality.
The Bicons.
The Bicons, yes.
Yes,
like
we
us.
Are, yes.
We are the Bicons.
We are the Bicons.
I mean, there's also a few non-binary people. There's also still a few straight people that
very few straight people
that somehow, I'm not gonna say weaseled their way in there, but I don't have another term for it.
One of them is the straight icon, Darsh.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll talk about more of
her.
We'll talk more of her later. How would you but how else would you describe in terms of personalities, how would you describe the people?
Everybody's very similar, but also diverse in their just utter wackiness of their character. Because
that is very true.
I feel me, I'm a little more on the sarcastic side. Finn's very on the sarcastic side.
Oh,
very dry wit.
Very dry humor. Yes.
Kaya is probably our goofiest member, I would say for sure.
Her and Hayo, I would say in terms of parallels, they both have like different sides of goofy,
Yes.
but very goofy.
Very goofy people.
And then there's my humor.
There's your humor.
That's just dirty humor.
It's very dirty. Can't really get into a conversation without something.
Something.
Darsh is very reserved, which is a very unique thing.
She's got the memes though.
She does have.
She is the meme queen.
She's the meme queen, which I have coined. She hates it, but I've coined it, and now it's stuck on her.
Yes.
She's very reserved. She is very funny, but also still very reserved, which is weird because she has a very unique and like special sense of comedy.
Yes.
But she's still very reserved, so it's like we got like pry that out for some time.
Right. Well, I mean, I already get access to that. So just as a little bit of a backstory, Darsh or Darshita wasn't one of the initial Bogingus members. She's actually my best friend, and I brought her into the group knowing that the personalities and everything would meld really, really well. Because you guys all like, I'm not a huge Marvel fan, but I know you guys are really into Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are really into specific types of memes. I love memes, but like you guys are more well versed.
Yes.
And I just felt like everything would mix well. And now she's like one of our core members as well, that we initiated.
Mm-hmm.
She's also our personal chef.
Yes. Chef, baker. Anything you can cook or bake,
seamstress,
she can do.
Yes, she's the best.
She's incredibly
simply
talented,
the best.
Far more than she will ever recognize
Yes.
herself.
And I will be sending this to her as well. All right, let's go on to the next question. Speaking of people of Bogingus, if you had to pick like a president or like a prominent individual or individuals, if any, who would they be?
I think if there had to be like the like president of Bogingus, I would technically consider it to be you in a sense, just because like.
Keep going.
Yeah. But I mean, like, you really, like, while a lot of us are, like, more, like, introverted and, like, bottled up, like, you really just, like, came out and, like, created those, like...
I literally came out this year.
I didn't mean in that sense, but you also did come out this year, which I'm very proud of. But you also, like, created, like, a lot of, like, the social events. I know you were a big part of, like, the library gang, all the boba runs, all the stuff like that. You, I'm pretty sure, did kind of take a lead on that Olive Garden day. So I think a lot of, like...
that's true.
Our social gatherings and just like our creation in general of Bogingus kind of revolved around you in that sense.
Yes, and that is partly because of my increased attachment issues that have come this year with my medical trauma. So I mean, I'm glad
Silver lining.
I'm glad that something good came from it.
Yes.
All right. And then a follow-up to that. How would you describe me, since you said if I'm a prominent member?
Yes.
How would I interact with other members, like newcomers? How have I responded? Because we've had a few new members.
We've had a few new members. I think a lot of the new members are because of you. I think it's because you're just very inviting in that fact. And again, you have that like greater like social ability and that larger social battery. So for you, it's like a lot, I think, easier to kind of not only make like social connections, but also like to bring other people in where you'll be able to realize, okay, this person would make a great addition to the group, like with Darsh.
Yes.
But I also think at the same time, it's like...
Because I know that Kaya has brought in at least quite a few people that were there at we had a Halloween party.
Yes, she did bring a few of her friends, even though she is in Illinois.
She's
sadly... still able to pull those strings.
Yeah, and we'll get into that running joke later. But the fact that like her friends, we met them at the Top of the Palms Day.
Yes, I remember.
Yes, and then
we also brought someone else.
Yeah, and it was just it was really, really I feel like I got along well with them, because like I don't know, they were just very chill. They had colored hair like I did. I'm now back to my boring black hair.
Very accepting to colored hair people.
Colored hair people?
Yes.
Great. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, on the topic of discourse, where do you think discourse normally takes place? Like, what mediums, what forms, like how do we communicate as a group?
Definitely our biggest, I think, medium is definitely like social media, especially like Discord and stuff like that, because we talk there like every single day. We'll like send jokes and memes and all that kind of stuff every day, make plans there. All that stuff happens there. We also, I think, use Instagram a good bit.
Yes.
At least in like one-on-one conversations, because you and I will talk. Me and Ariana will talk. Me and Kyle will talk. Blah, 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 blah. We'll talk like with each other, like separately in our own one-on-one discussions there. But like as a discourse group,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty much all on Discord.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, we'll also like we'll have those little memes and stuff like that. Like we'll meet like at like a boba place. We'll go for like a boba or something like that.
A lot of our stuff has gradually moved towards in person.
Yes.
I will say, like, I know that we got pretty comfortable, especially at the end of in the middle of the summer, I will say. We got really into video calls.
Yes.
Because one of our biggest things is we would play Cards Against Humanity or like board games and stuff, and I think that's another, we could classify it. I feel like it's such a big part of our group that not only are we a literary, like creative writing discourse community, but we are also like a board game community.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in terms of like genres, so like this is a continuation of that question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What is something that you think that someone, because this has happened a lot, that someone has started and that it just became a thing?
Again, harping back on to Kaya, she did start our mini book club in a sense, which I'm also part of, which is usually consisting of Kaya, me, Finn, and Jack, where we'll all get together like once a week. We'll like pick out a book and we'll be like, okay, we'll read this, and then we'll like talk about it and stuff like that. But that's also now attracting new members too, because both Ariana and Julia are now coming into the mix.
Yeah. I literally was so, when I found out about book club, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna do this, and then I just did it. Because
well, I mean, you guys have the library gang and all that. That's a whole
we do have library
subset.
gang. The library gang is only specifically for watching like shows together. So it's like, but yeah, also I feel like some other genres, like in terms of things that people just, like Kaya, just to continue, like piggyback, I know one of the things that she used to say just became a thing, and everyone would say it now, like, and like at meetings and stuff, like whenever people would be getting ready to leave, she'd be like, where do you think you're going?
Where do you think you're going?
Yeah, but it was like the way that she says it, I don't think anyone can like achieve the way that she says it.
It's that, and it's also just how she has her own death stare.
She does, yes. We have emotes in Discord, and with like, my one has like a middle finger. You got your little
I got my bi glasses.
Bi glasses.
I am the Bicon.
Yes, and hers is just like a death stare, and I think that she just like encapsulates that really, really well.
I think it's funny how most of our emotes on there are just people looking frantic.
No, that's part of everything, Okay, let's see. We've got going off of like, genres and things that have begun because of someone starting something. Like someone, of course, had to start like the video calls. Like I think Jenna once, we jumped on because she had like a sound for like the watch, like in terms of a a DJ sound effect, and we all like thought of it as like wiki, but she thought it was like watch, but she typed it out and we had no idea what she meant. So she's like, let's jump on a video call, and she demonstrated it and we understood, and then we just started like jumping on video calls like every single night and like talking and playing games and stuff, and that was a really, really fun part of the summer. I think also another thing is just like ordering from West Shore Pizza. Like,
that's a you thing.
This is a me thing.
Thing.
I've ordered from them so many times. Like we just have like events, and then sometimes I'm just like, why would we get like Pizza Hut when we could get something a little nicer? And their garlic knots, everyone loves their garlic knots, so you can't go wrong.
It's good pizza. Like no one's complaining that
no
you're
one's complaining, but it's just really funny that it became a thing. All right. Oh yeah, so like I was saying about with Kaya's like little catchphrase, speaking of catchphrases, we've got a lot of them.
We do have a lot of them.
and we have inside jokes, and that's a huge part of our discourse community. And of course, anyone who joins the community, we fill them in on everything, because it's just so funny. No matter how many times we like explain it, you know. All of these catchphrases are part of our lexi or like lexicon. What are some of your favorites and why?
Where do you think you're going is still a pretty good one.
Yes.
Just like Tarzan.
That's
another great one. I don't know if guava technically counts.
Oh, it's 100%.
Okay, then yeah, that might be a little bit more partial to me because that is a me thing.
Yes, because you are the guava king.
I'm a king of many things. Guava is one of them.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty much how Darsh won me over, pretty much, of getting in the funny group. Is like the first day I met her, we were at that pool party and stuff like that. Another event that you coordinated.
That I coordinated, yes.
We went back to your place, and then she had baked these little guava pastries, which are still one of the greatest things I've ever eaten. It's delicious.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
They're phenomenal.
I mean, then again, she doesn't really miss when it comes to cooking or baking.
Yeah, but those just hit different.
Those hit different.
Yes.
That put me on the guava.
Yeah, and we've never really like, I've had guava before. Like, it's like a huge thing in Pakistan, which is where I was born. And I've never been like, I've been fond of the smell and stuff, but I've never really had guava jam or guava pastries. And then when I did, I'm just like, oh my God, where has this been my whole life, you know?
It's crazy. I've never even heard of guava, like, before that point.
Really?
And then it was just, I've never heard of it. And then after that, I was just like, I need, like, 80 guava
80
pastries.
of these. Yeah, no, she literally brought, like, 80 of them.
She would start bringing me, like, little cups of just, like, guava jelly just for me to, like, take home. And then I'll just put it on toast for breakfast and stuff like that.
Oh, my God, that sounds so good.
It is.
Yeah. Well, I think going back to the catchphrases stuff, like, I think some of my favorite catchphrases, I will have to say, is one of my own. It's hospital. So it's a little ironic because I've been in the hospital a lot. But the reason it became part of our lexi is because I don't remember exactly what I was talking about, but I was trying to use the word hospitable, and I said it so fast that it sounded like hospital. And everyone just started laughing. And I'm like, I literally said hospitable. I don't know what you're talking about. And everyone just started repeating it, like, continuously. And we still use it till this day.
Oh,
yes.
Dane's house as well.
Dane's house,
we
yeah.
can't forget Dane's house.
Dane's house, because our friend Dane, he is Italian.
Very Italian.
And so
he doesn't have the accent, but in every other way,
he's very Italian. He complains like an Italian. But you gotta love him. You gotta love him. But yeah, there's just something about what's more Italian than an Olive Garden, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just branded as like, yeah, this is gonna be Dane's house now. And we actually
he hates it.
He absolutely hates it, and that is part of the humor.
The fun.
That's part of the fun. So if you want to be part of our discourse community, you've got to be able to laugh at yourself a little bit. That's one of the big things. And also, like, speaking of Dane's house, we did manage to incorporate it into a fan fiction. We had, writing.
We had that whole, like, 2 or 3 week session of just writing fanfics about each other.
Yeah, it was so silly. Which I think is a nice way to kind of decompress before, like, the semester starts. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. How easy, like, for someone who wants to, join Bogingus, how easy do you think it is to join? And how engaging are we with new people?
I think a group. It depends on the route you take. I think it depends on who you go through to get there, because I feel like if they were to go through, like, someone like you or Kaya, I think it would be a lot easier to, like, get incorporated. Instead, if you were, like, one of, like, my friends, per se, outside of the group, it would probably take you a lot longer because, again, like, the social stuff and, like, being introverted and stuff like that, it differs. Yeah,
Kaya and I are actually, I think, 2 of the only extroverts in terms of our MBTI.
I would think so.
Yeah.
If I knew what that meant.
Yeah, that is totally fine. We also talk about MBTI, and it's not everyone. That's another thing. With a lot of the things that we discuss in our discourse community, not everyone is part of everything, and that's okay. As long as, like, you're just here and just having a good time, no one's ever going to feel left out. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's really nice.
We are generally accepting of new people. Like, we're not going to turn anybody away.
Right.
Unless they're, like, homophobic or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, and I have a friend that I want to introduce, and hopefully we'll be introduced. We have a Christmas party coming up this Friday, and she is an ambivert, and so like I have introduced her to like a few people of Bogingus already, but like I know I was gonna introduce her to a few more, and then she was like, I already met a person today, and so I'm like, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. So you just gotta like I said, we respect boundaries in this cult. I mean this discourse community.
Discourse community.
This is not a cult. It's not a cult.
It's not a cult.
It's not a cult. Yeah. Let's see. So when someone like joins Bogingus, what are some challenges that new people should expect, and are there any drawbacks from your perspective, in your experience here?
There's not many drawbacks, at least that I've been personally affected by. I think generally speaking, not only is it a very like accepting group, it's a very fun group, and I think I've just generally really enjoyed like my time and my friendships with like everybody that's been in the group. In terms of like challenges and stuff like that, keeping up.
Yes.
in very simple short terms,
Yes.
keeping up.
Yeah, I will say one of our we didn't mention this earlier, but in our forums and mediums, when we were first creating Bogingus, we were just on GroupMe.
Yeah.
Before we had even exchanged social medias or anything like that, or got into Discord. We were just on GroupMe, and I still remember, I have it saved in my notes. Someone like showed up and was like, I woke up to 848 missed messages. What is happening?
That might have been the reason why we've like migrated to Discord, because it's a lot easier to navigate through there and like catch up on stuff, especially since it's like all different channels. With GroupMe, it's just the one thing.
The one thing.
So if you're missing like a conversation, you're missing the whole thing.
Oh no, but it's so chaotic, and it was just like a great way for us to like to start.
Yeah.
Also, do you have your Bogingus sticker by chance?
I have it on my laptop right here.
All right, cool. Yeah, we got a couple of things. So we have Kaya, our friend, created this. Well, actually, Darsh kind of created the image, and Kaya got it produced. We got Bogingus stickers or merchandise with it's like we all are yeah, that's right. We all have like, we love cats. Huge thing, we love cats. And in the image we have all of the main members, our names in like a crossword puzzle kind of situation.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna continue. Let's see what's going on.
We're cat people except for my cat, which I do not like.
Yes,
which I've stated most.
That's fine.
My cat is evil.
Cats are evil, and we still love them. Sometimes.
I like Julia's cats.
Julia's
a lot more
cats.
than my cat.
Oh my gosh, Julia's cat. Fun fact: one of her cats was also in the fan fiction that we were listening to, like from, I think it was from Dane. It was from Dane.
It was from Dane, yes.
Yes, which was very, very interesting.
Very clever inclusion.
Yeah. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah. In terms of my thoughts on like drawbacks and things like that, I will say, like we've mentioned, social like battery and stuff is a huge thing. So I remember like even at the pool party, one of my friends, Ariana, I call them they them Ariana because we already have an Ariana in Bogingus.
I feel like I know like 5 Arianas.
Yes. If your name is Ariana, we'll take you.
We will take you.
But if your name is Zara, then I'm sorry. Because there can only be one of me. Yeah. But yeah, no, but they, them, Ariana, at the pool party, after that whole day where we were all hanging out together, they needed to go take a nap and kind of excuse themselves from the social scene. And I completely understood that. So I told them that they could just stay in my room and just get a little bit of space to like relax and recharge. Because like, I will say that's the biggest drawback, the social stamina, but it's also a great facet or like of our group that brings me energy, but I'm also an extrovert, so I can't speak on, but it's just like, even the day where we went to the library and we were playing cards, that was a perfect example. And then we decided to go get Bruno's Bruno's Pizza, don't get it.
Don't
If you
get it.
Part of the initiation process of this is we will make you eat Bruno's Pizza.
You gotta eat the whole pie.
The whole pie, and you have to tell
Even
us
though
how
it's
much.
awful.
You have to tell us how much you love it. No, that's not part of this. But yeah, we were socially so exhausted by the end of the day, but we did not want to leave because we were just having such a great time, and I think that's one of like our strengths, but also our drawbacks because like it's
We
hard.
don't know where to quit.
It's hard, yeah. It's like an addiction, but like not in a complete toxic way. Like we are learning to set boundaries and things like that. But it's very, very fun. Okay, let's talk about like what are the goals that Bogingus has like in our group? Like what are some of our goals? Do we have shared goals? And how effective are we at achieving them?
I think a lot of our shared goals do go down to like that, still like that writer sense, because I think like a lot of us do still want to pursue that like writer dream. At least I know I do for like a lot
Yeah,
of different
same.
things, but
Even
I know,
if it's not my main dream.
yeah, I know like Hayo also has like his writer dreams. I know
Yes.
like other people like Kaya has like her writing aspirations. So a lot of us do try to like motivate each other through our like writing ambitions and our creative goals through that. But at the same time, I think one of our bigger goals is also just like being able to like be a support group for each other. And just like if you ever needed something, you know I'm there. If I ever needed something, I know you're there. But
Right.
also at the same time, like emotional and mental support for that kind of stuff, because we do often have a member that's going through something. I know. Well, I'm not gonna.
At least many members.
Many members deal with.
We
something.
are all mentally. If you are mentally unstable, please come here.
If you are psychotic, please join us.
Yeah. I mean, we're like crackheads, but without the crack.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But like, no, I mean, I think that it really just helps with, I don't know, the serotonin, the dopamine levels and stuff. It's really nice to have a support group and people who are just there for you in terms of being comfortable and like, I just say things, right? I say things and I regret things later. It's like it happens. But ultimately this group has, like I said, my humor is very dirty, but I used to not have that kind of sense of humor, at least not as prominent. But I've mentioned like in the summer, like the reason why I make all these jokes is because I have never had a safe space to actually do that before. And that's a very vulnerable thing for me.
That's one of the best things about Bogingus. It gives like all of us a space, like, a safe space to just like be ourselves and do all that sort of thing.
And then I wanted to ask if you had any like remarks before I move on to the very last question. Any questions for me at all? Anything you would like to tell future aspiring Bogingus members?
It's not a cult. There's definitely no frog that's like a central figure in our group or anything like that. So don't worry about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about Bogingus right now.
Bogingus.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we do have we didn't mention this, but we have a few people, not people, but a few animals or like objects that are part of our symbolic, what is the word? Mascot kind of situations. Yeah, so we have Bogingus, which when we had Bruno's Pizza for the first time, we were trying to find
the only good thing that came out of that
the
meal.
only good thing that came out of that meal, dang. Yeah, that crust was inedible.
Terrible.
We went to a bench and there was this little frog there, and I named it Bogingus.
And he lives in our hearts.
And he lives in our hearts. And now every frog we see is Bogingus.
Bogingus.
And then, of course, a huge part of everything is the capybaras.
Of course, we can't stop talking about the capybaras.
Yeah.
When Ariana drew that whole picture of the group.
Yes, I will be including that.
Yes, that beautiful picture. My shirt has a capybara on it. So even in the picture, capybaras are an influential part of our entire group. Capybara fans, you are more than welcome.
Yes, please pull up. Yes.
Pull up, yes.
All right. And then the final question that I have to ask is, what does Bogingus mean to you? I know that's
a heavy question.
That is a heavy question, but you can answer seriously, you can answer sarcastically, whatever your cup of tea is.
As much as I would like to answer sarcastically, as that is kind of my default, I think I will go for a more serious tone and just thinking that to me, it means like kind of a way to explore myself through all of you, because I feel like before I was like a part of Bogingus, I was a lot like not only just like very like alone in that sense, but at the same time I was very like shy. I was very like I didn't really like talk about like my opinions and stuff. I didn't really talk about like my interests with a lot of people. But now it's like I have that support group like we mentioned to where I can mention all that kind of stuff, and then I could also relate to like pretty much anybody else in the group in just like certain interests and like
and experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I will say one of the things, as like I mentioned, I came out this year as bisexual, and I remember I was in the car after the Halloween party. I was in Kaya. I thought you were there. It was Jack. You guys, they look very alike.
We don't. We're just two white people with glasses.
You're both tall and have brown
Oh.
hair. And and slender.
Okay.
And wear glasses. But I was with Kaya, Jack, and Finn in my car, and Kaya was talking about like the struggle of liking more, masculine women and more feminine men, and she was like, oh, it's so difficult. And I was like, oh my gosh, I literally went for years thinking that this was an experience that was like individually only like mine. But I've heard that apparently a lot of bisexual people feel that way, like they like more masculine women or feminine men or something like in between in terms of like gender. And it's just I felt very understood in that moment, because I like have judged myself for years, and I'm like, what is wrong with me? All these guys that I end up liking end up being gay, and I'm like, is my gaydar that bad? I mean, clearly it was, because I didn't know that I was, and it's just really funny.
You didn't even know about the gay in the mirror.
No, literally. I came out to one of my friends before coming out to myself, because he made a lesbian joke, and I was like, I was talking to a girl earlier this year, and I was like, no, we're both bi, and I was like,
wait a
minute. And it was just, we also went to Pride together. That was like that was a huge thing. I also love that you really liked the restaurant that we went to.
That restaurant looks delicious.
Was so good. So I'm a huge foodie, so I think that food is something that we want to kind of expand upon in Bogingus.
That would be
so awesome. If you guys are foodies, that would be a huge thing. If you're also adventurous, we don't mind vegetarians. We have a few. We have a few vegetarians, but we are inclusive. But if you're vegan, I'm sorry, you're not welcome.
You're not allowed.
You just bring your own food. I'm kidding. But that's I think that concludes all of my questions. Thank you so much for participating in this.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Ba-da-ba.